everyone, welcome to our discussion. Today we are going to discuss an audit case from two perspectives. My name is Putri Zahra and I will be today's moderator for this discussion. And the contents for this discussion is a case explanation followed by a detailed analysis from pros and cons sides of the case. And in the end there will be a summary of the discussion. And today we are joined by two guests who will serve as representatives for the opposing viewpoints. Allow me to introduce them and their respective positions. On the sides, we have Nabila. She will be presenting the arguments against Wirecard in the case. And on the other hand, we have Dina on the pro sides. Dina will be presenting the arguments in favor of Wirecard and against EY in this case. And before we go deeper into the analysis, we will explain the case for EY from the beginning until the end.
Okay, so allow me to explain the brief of the case. So in 2008, Wirecard, a financial technology company, faced an allegations of falsifying its 2007 balance sheets. The situation prompted the appointment of Ernst & Young to conduct a special audit. However, Wirecard successfully defended itself in this case, leading to the imprisonment of officials from SDK, German Shareholders Association, who were found guilty of share price manipulations. Following this victory, Wirecard experienced a period of rapid growth between 2011 and 2014. During this time, the company embarked on an ambitious expansion strategy, managing to secure 500 million euros in funding from shareholders. Additionally, Wirecard established its headquarters in Singapore, positioning itself strategically in the Asian region. However, in 2015, concerns about Wirecard's financial practices began to emerge. The Financial Times published suspicions regarding inconsistencies in Wirecard balance sheets. There was a significant gap of 250 million, raising serious questions about the possibility of fraudulent activities within the company. These concerns were further amplified by various financial journalists who also questioned the integrity of Wirecard's financial statements.
Okay, so next, in 2016, additional suspicions surrounding Wirecards emerged when an anonymous report from a short seller named Zahra alleged fraudulent activity within the company. And Wirecard denied these allegations. The situation prompted the German financial regulator, BaFin, to initiate an investigation into Zahra, focusing on potential market manipulation. During this time, journalists, researchers, and other short sellers who had been critical of the Wirecard case found themselves targeted by a series of spear phishing and hacking emails. The perpetrators behind these actions remain unclear. Amidst this growing controversy, a whistleblower came forward, claiming that Wirecard managers had offered personal compensation to employees of Ernst & Young, the auditing firm responsible for examining Wirecard's financial statements. These developments further intensified the skepticism surrounding Wirecard. The anonymous report, along with the subsequent investigation and allegations, added fuel to the existing doubts about the company's financial practices. The targeting of critics through cyber attacks and the revelation of potential attempts to influence the auditing process only deepened the concerns surrounding Wirecard's integrity and transparency.
And in the years 2017 and 2018, despite suspicions raised by various parties, including financial journalists, Ernst & Young issued an unqualified opinion on Wirecard's financial reports. This decision by EY, the auditing firms responsible for examining Wirecard's financial statements, raised eyebrows and deepened concerns about the company's practice. In 2019 and 2020, the Financial Times published alarming allegations regarding suspicious transactions involving fake contracts, particularly in Asian countries such as the Philippines, Singapore, and Dubai. In response to this allegation and to restore investor confidence, Wirecard engaged KPMG to conduct an independent audit. Additionally, the Financial Times reported that Wirecard held cash in escrow accounts managed by trustees. Wirecard assured that further details about this cash would be disclosed during the audit process. In March 2020, EY received documents from the trustee in the Philippines indicating that 1.9 billion euro was held in two banks in the country. However, Wirecard claimed that this 1.9 billion euro was actually located in a Singaporean bank, OCBC. This discrepancy raised doubts about the accuracy of the reported funds and the transparency of Wirecard's financial solution. In April 2020, KPMG delivered a negative report following the completion of the independent audit. The report stated that Wirecard had failed to provide sufficient documentation to address all the allegations of irregularities made by the Financial Times. This highlights the lack of transparency and raised serious concerns about the company's financial practice. In June 2020, the situation worsened when EY, relying solely on documents from the trustee and Wirecard, failed to independently verify the existence of the claim of 1.9 billion euro in the OCBC Singapore Bank. Consequently, EY declined to provide an audit opinion on Wirecard's 2019 financial statements. Wirecard, for the first time, admitted that the alleged 1.9 billion euro in cash may not actually exist, with mounting debt of nearly 4 billion euro owed to its shareholders. Wirecard was forced to file for bankruptcy. And that's everything about EY and Wirecard case, which is very complex and occurred over a long period of time. And now we will be diving deeper into the case. We have two guests with us that will be the representative of both sides, the pros and cons. So can you guys introduce yourself?
Okay, hello. I appreciate the opportunity to participate. My name is Nabila, and I will be presenting the arguments from the con side in the discussion on the EY and Wirecard case.
Hi, my name is Dina, and I'm going to be taking the positions as the representative of the pro side in the EY and Wirecard case discussion.
So wonderful! It's a pleasure to have you both here. Thank you for joining this discussion. To begin, could each of you present your respective perspective on the case? Because I understand that both sides held differing opinions regarding the fraud committed by the company. So let's start with the con sides. Could you please share your viewpoint?
Okay, so thank you for the time. So in my opinion, the EY and Wirecard case refers to a major financial fraud case involving the German payment processing company, which is Wirecard, which filed for insolvency in June 2020. And from EY's viewpoint, in the EY and Wirecard case, would likely center on the assertion that Wirecard deliberately misled and deceived EY, thereby compromising the accuracy and reliability of the audit process. And EY may emphasize that it conducted its audits in good faith, relying on the information and representations provided by Wirecard's management. In addition, EY also highlights that it was Wirecard's responsibility to provide accurate financial information and to maintain appropriate internal controls.
So, in my point of view, the Wirecard case is a matter of corporate survival, and Wirecard has been accused of fraud by EY and other auditors, and it has been targeted by the German authorities as well. And Wirecard actually denied all of the allegations, and they argued that it has been unfairly targeted, and Wirecard also argues that it has been unfairly targeted by EY and the German authorities. Wirecard has claimed that EY has been motivated by a desire to protect its own reputations, and the German authorities have been overzealous in their pursuit of Wirecard.
Okay, thank you for both of the perspectives. So it is evident that the EY and Wirecard case is multi-phase with both negative and positive sides. And before forming an opinion on the matter, it is crucial for us to consider all the factors from the both perspectives. And now let's delve deeper into the case. First, let's discuss the impact on the fraud of EY and Wirecard. And first, Nabila, could you please elaborate on some of the way in which this fraud can impact EY?
Okay, so I believe this case has had significant impact on EY employees, including reputation damage, client relationship, and legal action. So one of the most significant effects of the Wirecard fraud on EY was the substantial damage to its reputation. So being Wirecard's auditor, EY faced severe scrutiny and criticism for failing to uncover the fraudulent activities within the company. And the loss of public trust in EY's ability to identify and prevent fraud has undermined its credibility and cast a shadow over its entire range of services. And EY's involvement in the Wirecard scandal has also left the company exposed to legal and financial impacts to these days. This fraud case also caused EY to be banned from all Germany clients, and the fallout from the Wirecard scandal also has posed considerable challenges for EY in managing client relationships. And company may be hesitant to engage EY services due to concerns about its ability to effectively audit and identify fraudulent activities. And these are all serious issues that need to be addressed to regain the trust of investors and the public trust.
Okay, thank you Nabila for your insights. So, Dina, I would like to hear your perspective on the impact of the fraud on Wirecard. So, could you please share your thoughts on this matter?
Well, I think the case has a huge impact on Wirecard as well, because now they're filed for bankruptcy, and however Wirecard won the case in 2008 because the court found that the former employee of Wirecard had failed to provide sufficient evidence to support their claims of fraud. And the employee had alleged that Wirecard had engaged in a number of fraudulent activities, including falsifying financial statements and inflating its revenues, but the court found that the plaintiff's evidence was speculative and conclusory and did not meet the legal burden of proofs. Hence, the 2000 case was a significant victory for Wirecard and helped to bolster the company's reputation.
Thank you for your input, Nabila and Dina. And now let's move on to our next topic, which we will explore more about the involvement from the EY side, in which in this topic is represented by Nabila, who is the representative of the consite. And I would like to hear from your perspective of EY involvement in the Wirecard scandal. So, considering all of those information that we have, what are the key arguments that supports the EY position in this case?
So there are some key arguments that support EY's position in this case, which are the Wirecard's management intentionally deceived not only EY but also other stakeholders, including banks and regulatory authorities. And EY asserts that the fraud involved elaborate schemes, including the creation of fake bank accounts and for documents which were specifically designed to mislead auditors and regulators. And EY argues that it was a victim of Wirecard's orchestrated deceptions. And the company operated in multiple jurisdictions, which presented challenges in terms of understanding and verifying its complex financial transactions and business operations. And EY argued that the scale and complexity of Wirecard's operation made it difficult to uncover the fraud. And the last is that EY conducted its audit based on the information and documents provided by Wirecard's management, and any misrepresentations or concealment of information by Wirecard would have hindered EY's ability to detect the fraud.
Okay, thank you Nabila for representing the cons of these sides and providing new insights. And now I will move into the topic of the mistakes made by EY in its auditing on Wirecard. So I would like to hear from you about the key errors that EY made during their auditing process.
So there are some key errors and oversights that have been identified, including failure to detect fictitious transactions. So EY failed to identify the existence of fictitious transactions, which were a crucial component of the fraudulent activities at Wirecard. These transactions were designed to inflate the company's reported revenue and assets. And EY's auditing procedures should have included more robust testing and verification of the authenticity and validity of transactions. And next is EY relied heavily on third-party confirmations to validate the existence and accuracy of Wirecard's cash balance held in overseas bank accounts. However, it has been revealed that these confirmations were falsified, and EY's failure to adequately corroborate and confirmations and independently verify the bank balances contributed to the oversight of the fraud.
Thank you, Nabila, for your perspective on EY involvement in the case, also about EY mistakes and error in auditing the Wirecard. And now we want to move to our next topic, which we will explore the perspective from the other side, which is the Wirecard side, represented by Dina. And Dina, as a representative of the pro side, would like to give us insight about the Wirecard scandal from the Wirecard side. Okay, now I'm with Dina, who is a representative from the pro side, which is the Wirecard side, and I want to ask Dina about what is the key arguments that supports Wirecard in this scandal.
Okay, so I actually there are some points that I do not agree with Nabila. Like for example, there are statements in articles that state Wirecard was actually the victim of the sophisticated fraud scheme orchestrated by former employees, and the perpetrators of the fraud were able to create fake bank statements and the other documentation to fool EY and other auditors. But however, EY failed to adequately assess the risk of fraud and conduct necessary procedures to detect the fraud. EY relied too heavily on the information provided, and it did not conduct enough independent verification, and Wirecard did cooperated with EY throughout the audit process. Wirecard provided EY of all of the information that it requested, and it gave EY access to all its system and records. So that's why I don't actually agree what Nabila has stated before.
Okay, thank you, Dina, for representing the pro side and sharing your insights about the arguments to support Wirecard position. And now let's explore the response of Wirecard of the allegation of fraud. So from the previous discussions, I would like to hear your analysis of how Wirecard responded to the allegation and what steps they took to address the situation.
Okay, so initially, Wirecard denied all of the allegations against it, and the company claimed that the allegations were false and that the company was the victim of the smear campaign. And Wirecard also claimed that the allegations were motivated by a desire to harm the company's reputations. But however, as the evidence against the company mounted, Wirecard was forced to change its stance. The company admitted that it had engaged in some fraudulent activity, but it claimed that the fraud was relatively minor and that the company was not aware of the full extent of the fraud scheme. Wirecard also took a number of steps to address these situations. The company hired new CEO and CFO, and it launched an internal investigations into the fraud. Wirecard also cooperated with the German authorities and with EY. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Dina, for sharing your point of view on Wirecard's response. So, I want to explore how Wirecard perceive EY as an auditing company. Because of this scandal, we can get a bad perception about EY, but I want to know from Wirecard's sides, Wirecard's viewpoint on EY's auditing practice, and does it implicate your relationship with EY or not?
So, as I mentioned before, EY had made several mistakes in addressing the Wirecard case. So, firstly, EY relied too heavy on information provided by the Wirecard management, because EY should have been more critical of the information provided by Wirecard management and should have conducted more independent verification. And EY also failed to adequately assess the risk of fraud. EY should have more carefully assess the risk of fraud at Wirecard and give the company's complex business model and its reliance on the third-party payment processors. And EY also failed to conduct the necessary procedures to detect the fraud. EY did not conduct the necessary procedures to detect fraud in Wirecard, such as verifying bank balances and performing background checks on key employees. So those are the key mistakes that impact the relationship between EY and Wirecard.
Thank you, Dina and Nabila, for sharing the perspective of both sides. And now, let's move to the next topic about the whistleblower in this case. So, based on my readings and my findings about this case, I read about the KPMG who is doing an independent audit for this case, found that an internal whistleblower at EY raised fraud allegation against Wirecard and documented that the company had attempted to bribe an auditor. So the whistleblower wrote that the Wirecard manager offered an EY employee personal compensation, provided the auditor agreed to sign off on manipulated sales number. And this information raised important questions regarding the actions and impact of the whistleblower's role. And now I would like to pose a question to both the pros and cons sides considering the KPMG probe's findings. So what are your perspective on the significance of the whistleblower's allegations and the documented attempt to bribe an EY auditor? So maybe I would like to start with Dina from the pro side about what is your perspective about this whistleblower.
Okay, so from the Wirecard side, the whistleblower allegations and the documented attempt to bribe an EY auditor are a serious concern, and Wirecard has denied the allegations and has claimed that they are false. The company has also argued that the allegations are motivated by a desire to harm the Wirecard reputations, and Wirecard's perspective on the significance of the whistleblower's allegations and the documented attempt to bribe an EY auditor is that they are a part of wider conspiracy against the company. Wirecard has claimed that the allegations are being used to justify the actions that EY and the German authorities, who Wirecard believes have unfairly targeted the company. And Wirecard has also argued that the whistleblower's allegations are irrelevant to the questions of whether or not the company engaged in fraudulent activities. And Wirecard has claimed that the fraud allegations are false and that the company has been a victim of its America.
Okay, so thank you, Dina, for your point of view for the whistleblower. And now we move on to the next side, which is from the con side. So, Nabila, I want to hear your opinion about the whistleblower in this case from the con sides.
Okay, so from EY's perspective, we agree with the whistleblower, where the opinion that EY was misled and deceived by Wirecard management, who provided false and misleading information during the audit process. And EY also stated that it conducted the audit in good faith, relying on the information and representations provided by Wirecard, and documented attempts to bribe EY auditors further support EY's position that Wirecard actively engaged in deceptive practices, which hampered EY's ability to uncover the fraud. EY also confirmed that it has cooperated fully with authorities and investigations, demonstrating its commitment to transparency and also accountability.
So thank you for sharing both of your insights about the whistleblower's role and the significance of their actions. And now let's move on to our final topic, which focus on the lesson learned on this Wirecard and EY case. So given the complexities and implication of the case, I would like to hear from both the pros and cons sides, both the key takeaways and lessons that we can draw from this case. Starting from the pro sides, what are the lessons learned that you get from your sides?
Lessons from the case. Wirecard has learned important lessons from its recent accounting scandal, including the importance of having strong whistleblowing policy and having an adequate internal control system, transparencies with the investors, and a strong corporate culture. And whistleblowing policies allows that employees to report wrongdoing confidentially and without fear of retaliations. And it is also important to have a transparency with investors and regulators, which it is essential to build trust and confidence, and Wirecard was not transparent with investors and regulators about its business practices, making it difficult for them to identify the fraud. And Wirecard is committed to implement changes to address these shortcomings and prevents similar problems from happening in the future. And the company has already implemented a new whistleblowing policies and strengthening its internal control, and it is also working to improve its transparency and corporate culture.
Okay, thank you, Dina, for your answer. And now for the conside, I want to ask, what are the lessons that you get from your sides?
Okay, so the EY and Wirecard case has imparted important lessons for EY, prompting the firm to reflect on and address the shortcomings that were identified. And one key lessons learned is the need to enhance skepticism and professional judgment when assessing financial statements. And EY recognizes the importance of challenging assumptions and conducting thorough risk assessments to uncover potential fraud and irregularities. Additionally, the case has highlighted the necessity of strengthening audit procedures and risk assessment methodologies, as well as promoting transparency and proper disclosure in financial reporting. And EY acknowledges the need to improve fraud detection capabilities, reinforce auditor independence and also ethical conduct, and collaborate closely with regulatory bodies. And by applying these learnings, I hope EY can improve its audit practices, maintain integrity, and also restore trust in its role as an auditor.
So finally, we reach into the end of the discussion, which I will, as a moderator, I will be telling you the summary of our today's discussion. So basically, our discussion discussed the UI and market case, which involves a major financial fraud committed by German payment processing company Wirecard. And the discussion present two perspectives from both of the con sides and the pro sides. So the con sides, represented by Nabila, highlights that EY believes that Wirecard deliberately misled and deceived them, compromising the accuracy of the audit process. They argue that EY conducted audits in good faith based on information provided by Wirecard's management. And from the pro side, represented by Dina, argues that Wirecard has been unfairly targeted and denies all allegation of fraud. They claim that EY and the German authorities were motivated by their own interests. And as the impact of the fraud on EY is discussed, which include the reputation damage, strained client relationships, and potential legal actions, EY's involvement in the scandal has led to a loss of public trust and challenge in managing client relationships. And EY involvement in the Wirecard scandal, from the con sides, EY asserts that Wirecard intentionally deceived them and other stakeholders through elaborate schemes, including fake bank accounts and forged documents. They argue that the scale and complexity of Wirecard's operation made it difficult to uncover the fraud. And mistakes that were made by EY in auditing Wirecard are mentioned also by Nabila, such as failing to detect fictitious transaction and relying heavily on falsified third-party confirmation. And Wirecard perspective is presented from the pro side, stating that Wirecard was a victim of a sophisticated fraud scheme orchestrated by former employees. So they argue that EY failed to adequately assess the risk of fraud and relied too heavily on information provided by Wirecard's management. And that's it for the summary from both the pros and con sides. So thank you for the pros and con sides for attending today's session and today's discussion. Overall, the EY and Wirecard case reveals serious issues of fraud, transparency, and accountability, and it highlights the challenge faced by auditing firms in identifying fraudulent activities and maintaining public trust. The case also serves as a reminder of the importance of robust financial practice, independent audits, and transparency in the corporate world. And I hope you guys can get insights from our discussion today. And thank you, Nabila, for discussing with us today.
Yes, you're welcome.
And thank you, Dina, for discussing with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Goodbye.
Bye.